one thing to start off with is give a definition of your research topic, or if it is a specific concept within your research area, do include that in the introduction section. So what I like to do is I like to kind of say this as tagging, So what is the tag for this kind of a sentence when you look into the introduction section of your paper? So we could say, start with a definition to describe your research area. So just a descriptive text, so that this is the order in which you are going to write your introduction. Next thing that you could write about is explain any relevant cross-discipline areas of research. One very important thing that you would notice nowadays, or the focus for good journals, is they look for solutions that are cross-disciplinary, multidisciplinary, or interdisciplinary. And the reason for that is, over the last many decades, research within silos has happened quite a lot. But practical problems in the real world are not domain specific. It will not be just about one discipline or another discipline. Problems need to be solved using multiple discipline expertise. So if your research has that element where you can bring in experts from different fields and come up with a really interesting solution to a problem, I think that would be very favorably viewed by many journals, because that is the current trend. Okay, so look for multidisciplinary research. So in this example, it talks about how this concept eye tracking relates to a number of different disciplines: psychology, ergonomics, quality, marketing, IT, and so on. So it could be a mix and match of multiple disciplines when you and this is important not for the SLR paper per se, but it is important for your research. So if you're thinking of your PhD, think about how your solution is going to, how your innovation that you're going to do in your research is going to be spans across different disciplines. I've seen a lot of my when I work with my colleagues here, I work with people from diverse disciplines, because I'm in a very special position, because my background is information technology or software engineering, you could say, and that kind of has applications to many disciplines. So I can go in one team and work with them, provide my insights from the IT perspective. Similarly, I can go somewhere else and do the same thing. And same thing can be applied to a number of other disciplines as well. You need to know marketing. You need some knowledge from finance or economics for different practical problems. So getting a team that brings in diverse values and skills is very useful. So keep that in mind for your PhD research as well. Then you could say that the interest in this research topic is increasing. So why is this important in the introduction? Because you have to show that the research paper, the SLR that you're writing, is addressing a topic of growing interest. And why is that important? It is not only important just because the interest is increasing in that area, but journals or top journals would want a larger audience for their papers. Okay, so if there are firstly is in a topic of interest which is rising, there will be a lot of people who would be reading your paper, and that is beneficial for the journal, because it increases their reputation as well. So keep these other things in mind when you are working on your research paper as well. In this paper, I found they even went further to show to prove that the research is increasing. And I think they are showing here the number of papers that were published over the last 4 or 5 years. And this trend is reflective of their statement. So it is not just a blind statement that, the research is rising, but they have provided quantitative evidence in this case to show how the field is evolving and the interest in this topic is rising. Another thing I would like to say, this is typically what I do, is start with a punchline that grabs the readers or the reviewers' attention to the research problem that your SLR is trying to address. So keep if the first line is very memorable, or if the first line conveys the problem that your SLR is going to solve, I think it makes a big difference. First line or even the first paragraph of your introduction section. Just think a lot about what you are going to write in these first few sentences or first few paragraphs. And the reason I say this is based on my experience as a reviewer is when we get papers to review, we first look at the abstract and then the introduction, and then we kind of make up our mind that I think this paper is good, is reasonable, it should be accepted, or it should be rejected. That mindset comes at the very beginning, and as we read further, the line of thought is that this paper is not very good. The rest of the section should convince me otherwise that the paper is good. Yeah. And that's why writing the introduction section should probably take a fair bit of time. It is not something as an afterthought, but it is probably something that is very crucial. So the introduction section should be the one that explains the whole research. So by reading the introduction section, I should get the main crux of your research. And if I'm interested to know more about it or more about certain aspect of it, I can go to the relevant section of your SLR and find more information about it. But abstract and introduction should be very convincing, so that the reviewers support your work, and they will be more in a positive. They will be looking at your work in a more positive way. You could also explain how something works. Yeah, if your topic is related to some technology, or if it is related to decision making, or anything where you have to explain something, a process of how something can work, you could also have that in the introduction section. You could explain the benefits and the effectiveness of your research. So what happens if this research is not done? Why is it important? How it is effective? How will it affect? What impact would it have if the research problem that you have selected is solved? So start thinking about all these things when you are writing your introduction section.